All right, so we're going to talk about disability today. We've got some changes from the Social Security Administration. The commissioner came down with a few changes. Got a new commissioner. He's making some I think some good changes, and we'll talk about those today. We'll see what happens with the new Supreme Court ruling, whether the commissioner and the Social Security Administration can make those type of changes in the future. It's not looking good, but that's a whole different thing I did a video on earlier. All right, so my name is Ed Weir. This is a live Q&A. So if you see that this get a lot of complaints, says, yeah, I like the topic of the day, but your video is an hour. Oh my gosh. No, 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 no. The topic of the day, like this one, it shouldn't take that long, about 5 or 10 minutes. And then the rest of the time for the rest of the hour, I sit here and answer questions from people all over the country, all over the world, actually, on all things Social Security. Got a lot of expats in the Philippines and England and Germany, so they jump on here and ask about their benefits too. So that's why the videos, all my videos are so long. All these live videos are at least 1 hour long because I answer questions for the rest of the time. But if you're just here for the disability portion, it should take about 10 or 15 minutes today. It's this pretty short one. I just want to keep you updated. So, but if you do have questions, make sure you go ahead and type them in the chat. Let's go ahead and stop stalling and get right into it. All right. So, one of the big changes is when you file for disability, you no longer have to recount your work for the past 15 years. If you're new to my channel, I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and I've taken hundreds of thousands of retirement, spouse, survivor benefits, disability benefits, and the disability portion. When you come into the office and file for disability on the phone or whatever the case may be, or internet, up until about a month ago, you would have to detail the last 15 years of your work, because for Social Security, the definition of disability is the inability to work. So Social Security obviously needed to know all your medical information, your doctors, what your disabling condition, but they also needed to know your work, what type of work you did, to see if they can, to see if your disabling condition really prevents you from doing similar type of work. And that's why they needed your past work history. But 15 years was always difficult. I can tell you from firsthand experience, trying to get people to, okay, where did you work 10 years before that? And they would never remember. And then you'd ask them all kinds of questions. Okay, how on an 8 hour day, how much stooping did you do? Kneeling, sitting, standing, walking, climbing, and all that. And, oh my gosh, that was like 10 years ago. I don't remember. So it was always very difficult. And because it was so difficult, people, didn't give a whole bunch of accurate information. So Social Security finally came down and said, okay, all right, 15 years ago, that's just too much. So now it's only the last 5 years. And any time that you had like a job that was only last like, under 30 days, you don't even need to worry about that. So just, you work there for a few weeks and stop. You don't have to worry about that. So just the last 5 years. So that should make everything quite a bit easier. So that is one positive change. Another positive change is they've gotten rid of a lot of really crazy jobs, 114 occupations that exist or that don't exist at all, or exist in very, very limited numbers. Basically, again, what it is Social Security defines your disability as inability to work. So what they do is they look at other jobs out in the market and they say, okay, here's the list of jobs. And okay, based on your disabling condition, you can no longer be a trapeze artist for Cirque du Soleil, but maybe you can do this thing. And some of the jobs were on there were, microfilm reader and pneumatic tube operator. And remember the old, almost to the old telephone operator where they had the little things and the big board. And, I don't know if that was in there, but a similar job was in there. So some of those jobs just don't exist. Maybe one person in the country do those type of jobs nowadays. So they've gotten rid, they went through what's called the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, and they've gotten rid of a bunch of jobs that make no sense that are still on the books. So that's a better thing. And that'll make it easier for you to get disability and all the rest of it. So another change. So the commissioner's doing a good job. again, with the Supreme Court ruling, maybe him and other future commissioners might not be able to do this anymore because it's left to the courts. So, but it's gonna, yeah. Anyway, another change is no more CDRs. The commissioner, when he came in, he saw the backlog. Right now, Social Security, it is at a 27-year low in terms of staffing. And you all know that when you call Social Security and try to get help and try to get your claim adjudicated, it just takes forever and you get different answers. That's kind of why I came out of retirement, and I've done these 600 videos and do this live Q&A all the time. So if you need help, you, your family or friends, make sure you subscribe, share, and if they need help making sure they're getting all the benefits they're entitled to, make sure they come on over here and join my live Q&A or watch some of my hundreds of videos, and make sure they're getting their correct videos, and make sure if they're about to file their correct benefits, and if they're about to file, making sure that they're filing for the correct benefit at the correct time. Social Security is not forgiving in that respect. So no more CDRs. So the commissioner said no more CDRs. The staffing is too low. We're backlogged for new disability claims. So a CDR is a continuing disability review. So if you're currently receiving disability, every now and then, every few years, you have a continuing disability review, which basically reviews to see if your disability is continuing. They stop that for the rest of the fiscal year till the end of September. And so the staff can focus on adjudicating and developing new disability claims. So that is a very, very positive thing. I worked for the agency for a few decades, and I don't remember them ever pausing CDRs like that. So that is a good thing. All right, so let's see here. If you are about to file for disability, you, your friends, or family, I did of the over 600 videos about a month ago, I did a series of videos on filing for Social Security, insider guide, all the tips, tricks, and secrets, how to file, common mistakes, the appeals process, onset date, the difference between SSI versus SSDI. So I did videos on that. I did another video a couple of weeks ago on if you're currently receiving Social Security, disability, and working. I did one on if you're receiving SSI, the Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program. I did one on that and working. So I've got a lot of videos. So if you're going to file, somebody that's about to file for disability, make sure you go ahead and watch those videos, and it'll give you all the tips, tricks, and secrets. And I have a favor to ask. Please stop repeating the internet myths that everybody is denied the first time. That is 100% correct. I've taken hundreds of thousands of disability claims, and yeah, they get approved, every single day. If you've got a really tragic, I've had disability claims approved the same day, approved the next day. Some, yes, are denied incorrectly, but when that internet myth is continuously repeated that everybody is denied the first time, people, just don't file, and they just give up. Says, well, they're just going to deny me anyway, so I don't want to go through the bother. And that person could actually use that money. That person paid into the system, and they need that money for them and their family. But when they hear that internet myth that everybody's denied the first time, they just give up. So please, you're doing a disservice by repeating that. So please do not. It's difficult. They need to make sure they do it right. But yeah, let's stop the internet myths in that respect. All right. So I told you, see, I did it in 9 minutes or so. So let's go ahead and jump into your questions, and it doesn't have to be about disability alone. So this could be about anything, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, disability, retirement, early, delayed, whatever you want to talk about. Let's do it. Layla, good topic. Can't wait. I asked about this on your last live. Yes, I knew you did. That's why I scheduled it for today, Layla, because you were awesome like that. I'm always looking out for you. All right, Annie Oakley, is the delayed Part B penalty calculated monthly? No, say for 18 months total, or only for a completed 12-month period, a 12-month period. So it's if you don't sign up for Part B when you're supposed to, which is 65, or after you've been receiving disability for 2 years, then you're penalized 10% for every 12 months you did not have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's. Um, so it's only for the 12-month period. But one of the problems is people say, well, I'll get it, in July. Well, now, if you don't sign up for it at the correct time, then you have to wait for the general enrollment period. And the general enrollment period is January, February, and March. So I get a lot of people that move overseas, and they say, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and cancel it, and because I'm never coming back." And then they get sick and they come back, and they come back in like July, and so they don't have health insurance until February 1st. They changed the law a few years ago. They changed the regulation that before, if you signed up in the general enrollment period, January, February, March, your Part B would start in July 1st. July 1st. They changed that, which is another good change. And they changed it. If you enroll in January, it starts February 1st. You start in February, enroll in February, it starts March 1st, like that. So it starts almost immediately, which was a very, very good rule change. Vicky, will we be getting a raise soon? COLA, and all of the clickbait out there about how much COLA will be next year and all that kind of stuff is just basically clickbait. Nobody knows 100% for sure until the Department of Labor Statistics comes up with the CPI for the third quarter of this year. So we won't know until the first week in October what the COLA will be for next year. John, I was on SSDI for 7 years, stopped. All right, so I'm not sure why it stopped. It's because, oh wait, he follows up here. It for 1.5, then went back on, then started working again after 2.5. Have now been working for 1.5. Does the 5 years start with the first time going back to work? So okay, so you're probably asking about the EXR, expedited reinstatement. So if your Social Security disability SSDI stops because of work, you have 5 years, 60 months from the time your benefits stopped to file an expedited reinstatement. So you have to file the expedited reinstatement, and it has to be the same disability. And the reason your benefits stopped in the first place was because of work. And then you can go ahead and file that EXR, expedited reinstatement. Let's see. Okay. Hit the thumbs up button, folks. Yes, please. Thank you. All right. Ed, can a person stop their social temporary if one retired at 62 and increase the benefit amount to full Social Security at 67 and increase the amount? Okay, so there's 3 ways to do this. One is if you file for benefits, early retirement, and then within 12 months you change your mind, then you can withdraw your application like it never happened again, like it never happened. But if it never happened, that means you shouldn't get that money, basically. So you have to return all that money. So within 12 months, you can withdraw the application, but you have to pay all that money back. The second way to kind of stop your benefits is, go over the annual earnings limit. If you're going back to work and you're going to make this year over $22,320, then you call them up and say, yeah, I'm going to make, $100,000, and they'll basically won't pay you this year and next year until you call them up and tell them that you're going to be making a lot less. So, and what happens is, I did a video on this. I've got over 600 videos. I've done several videos in all the topics pretty much. It's called an ARF, ARF, adjusted reduction factor. What happens is, if you take your benefits 30 months early, so you get a 30-month reduction, and then for some reason you go back to work or whatever, you don't get 20 of those checks because you go back to work and they withhold 20 checks. That means once you hit your full retirement age, the computer system automatically looks at your record and says, hey, this person is reduced by 30 months, but they only got 10 checks. They only got 10 months of checks. So the computer system automatically goes in there, recalculates the adjusted reduction factor. And from then on, for the rest of your life, you're only reduced by 10 months. So that's one way to increase your benefits. And the third way is, which almost nobody knows, even Social Security employees, because not that many people use this, it's called voluntary delayed retirement credits. When you hit your full retirement age, you can call Social Security and say, stop my benefits. And they will suspend your benefits, and you can wait until you're 70 or any time before, because after your full retirement age, you get delayed retirement credits. So it's 8% per year. And then if, every month it's, 8% divided by what, 12 months, was it 2/3 of 1% or something, increase up until you're 70. So that's the third way you can increase your benefits, by stopping your benefits or suspending your benefits or withdrawing your benefits. Tao, can people apply for unemployment and retirement at the same time? Absolutely. Unemployment has no effect on Social Security whatsoever, except for SSI, the welfare-based program, because that's money coming in. So, but not on, it doesn't have effect on the retirement benefits or spouse benefits or disability or survivor benefits or anything like that. Alice, my husband passed away in 2020. I was on disability at the time. I turned 65 and now drawing off him. Now the question is, am I entitled to back time when he died? Yeah, there's a lot of details in there. I think you emailed me that question, and I asked you to ask in this format so I can answer a little bit better. So thank you. All right, so your husband passed in 2020, and you were on disability at the time. So if you were, I just turned 65, so yeah, so you weren't, it doesn't sound like you're able to get the disabled widows benefits. So disabled widows benefits is benefits for a widow that's disabled, but you have to get that between 50 and 60. But now that you're 65, I don't think you were 60 at that time. So it sounds like you're not entitled for the disabled widows benefits. If my guerrilla math is incorrect and you were 60, you were 59, not 60 yet when he passed, then you were eligible for disabled widow benefits, and you could make the case to Social Security that, hey, I should have received disabled widow benefits rather than disability on my own record. But the benefit amount, it's also about the benefit amount. If the benefit amount on yours is higher, because you only get 71.5% of disabled widow, the primary insurance amount from the deceased spouse. So you have to find out how much, whichever one is most. But and now drawing off him. So now you're drawing off him as just a straight surviving spouse. So it sounds like that benefit amount now is higher simply because you're not doing the 71.5%. So a lot of this has to do with the calculations of which one was more and whether you became disabled, before 60 years old. So a lot of moving parts there. So I would reach out to Social Security and say, hey, I was disabled when he passed. I was before the age of 60 when he passed. Why wasn't I given the opportunity to file for disabled widows benefits? And they'll tell you, well, this, that, and the other, or your benefit was always the most at that time because of the 71.5% and all the rest of it. Right. Charlotte, great job. Need you here. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sharon, I'll be 60. My husband died at 49, 12 years ago. I thought I'd get 100% survivor benefits. No, it's reduced. Anytime you take a benefit early from Social Security, except for like disability, your benefits are reduced. So yeah, and 60% is the full reduction. You won't get 100% of his benefit amount, what he was receiving, until you hit your full retirement. If you started your benefits at his full retirement age, no. Mary, as a divorcee, I never remarried and neither did he. What benefit would I possibly eligible for through Social? Yeah, as long as you were, it doesn't matter if he remarried or not, or has new family, or yeah, no relevance whatsoever. If you were married to that person for 10 years or longer, and I assume he is still out there alive and kicking, so you're possibly entitled to just regular spouse benefits, you have to file for benefits on your own record. And if his benefit amount is over twice your benefit amount, then you are entitled to spouse benefits. So I would call Social Security and check. What a lot of people do is they mistake and they say, oh, hey, ex-husband Bob, how much is your benefit amount? And he says, oh, let me look at my check. It's $1,200. And what they're looking at is maybe they took their benefits early, so they're looking at reduced amounts. So you don't care about that number. Or they're looking at after Medicare is being taken out. You don't want that number. You want what's called the PIA, the primary insurance amount, the benefit at the full retirement age. So if he or she doesn't know the PIA, which probably they don't, call Social Security and just say, hey, is there any more money on this record? And they'll tell you. So let's see what other kind of question. I was denied 2 times, but I got a lawyer. I won the 3rd time. Good, good. All right. Yeah. For most people, the first 2 stages, I don't really recommend a lawyer because, you got to pay them over $7,000 for what you can do pretty easily. Just watch my video. If you want to get a lawyer, more power to you, but it, it's a lot of money for something that they're just going to basically do that you can do. So the initial stage, you can do it yourself. Call up Social Security, set up an appointment, do it online. I always recommend online so you're not pressured. You can take your time. The second stage, the reconsideration, is super, super easy. It takes about 10 minutes. But the 3rd stage, the administrative law judge stage, yes, definitely get a lawyer. And a local lawyer. I always recommend local lawyers, not those, national sweatshop clearinghouse. I shouldn't have said sweatshop. Some lawyer's going to sue me now. I'm not a sweatshop. Anyway, yes, you are. Does getting survivor benefits at age 60 impact what you can later get on your own record at 67? No, it does not. If that is a very good strategy, Lisa, hopefully you did it right. If you file for survivor benefits, you start getting those survivor benefits at 60 and you don't touch yours. So if you file for benefits on your own record and then you start it and then you start getting survivor benefits, what happens is you get kind of 2 checks. So you get benefits on your own record and then you get the difference survivor benefit. So you get 2 sources. It all comes in one check. People don't realize they're getting 2 checks. I did a video a couple of days ago. I says, there's millions of people getting 2 checks, and got a lot of people in the comments, I'm not getting 2 checks. I'm like, are you getting spouse benefits? Yeah, you're getting 2 checks. It comes in one check, but you're getting 2 benefits from 2 different records. But as long as you didn't touch your own, so hopefully you didn't touch your own, then your benefits will continue to go up and up and up and up and up. And so call up every year or so and say, all right, how much is it on my own? And then once that benefit on your own record is where you want it to be, it's the max you can wait is until 70. So you can get that 24% from 67 to 70, you get that 24% increase. And then, yeah, jump over onto your own. Very, very good strategy. Hopefully you did it that way and get some more money. I recently applied for SSD. If denied, I'll be 62 in December. When can I apply for my Social Security? Yes. So if your disability is currently pending, and so I did a video on this. It's called RibDib, where people at 62 can go ahead and file for benefits, so retirement benefits, to get those benefits started because they need the check. But at the same time, file for disability. But disability takes 6 to 9 months to get a decision. So yeah, once you're 62, about 2 or 3 months before you hit 62, then you can go ahead and start getting benefits on your own record. So, but be advised that if your disability is eventually approved and you've taken X amount of benefits, early retirement benefits, your disability benefits are going to be reduced based on those reduction months. But it really depends on the onset date they determine your disability to have begun. So, but it's usually not not much. A 1 month reduction is usually $7, $10 or something like that. So, and if you need the money, then get that there money. Can you get SSI and SSDI both? Absolutely, yes. A lot of people say, no, you can't get both. You can't get Medicare and Medicaid alone both. Yes, you can. You can't get disability and survivor benefits both. Yes, you can. So much misinformation out there. All right. And then because there's so much information, hundreds of millions of dollars are being lost every year. So share and subscribe and do all that kind of good stuff so we can get this information out there. So SSI is the supplemental security income. SSDI is Social Security Disability Insurance, which you paid FICA taxes in for all those years. So yes, if you are approved for SSDI based on your work history, but you didn't work very much or low income, and your SSDI is only 500 bucks, then they will check to see if you're eligible for SSI. Again, SSI is a welfare-based program, so they look at your other income and resources and everything. And if you're qualified, they give you more money on SSI. The max this year is $943. So if you get the $500 from SSDI, you'll get another $443 from SSI. And then if you get SSI, a whole world opens up to you. Then you're categorically eligible for Medicaid from the state. So go down to the state and apply for Medicaid. And there's a Medicare savings program that Medicaid will pay for your Part B premium. And then if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you're dual eligible. You're eligible for what's called a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. Usually I recommend Medicare supplements if your budget affords it. But if you have Medicare and Medicaid, then Medicare Advantage all day long. That's way, way better for you. But there are several levels of Medicaid, and depending on the state, there's QMB and QI and SlimB and different acronyms. So if you're approved for the higher levels of Medicaid, then you can get a dual eligible plan. And if you need help with that, because there were so many people out there, so many Medicare insurance agents that I did not like what they were doing, I said, forget about it. I'll just put a team together myself. And so that's what I did. So if you need help, click the little button there that says more help here. And I can have someone reach out and help you find a plan. That's all agents, brokers, they don't charge anything. It's all free, a free service. How it works is, if you like what they offer, it says, okay, they say, hey, they find out your doctors and your prescriptions. They say, okay, in your area, here's the best 1 or 2 or 3 plans. And here's why this one was good. You need more dental, so this is probably good. And you say, oh, okay, let's do that one. And then they go ahead and enroll you in that plan, and they get paid directly from that insurance company. And it doesn't cost you anything extra, because if you sign up with that insurance company directly, it's the same exact, deal and price and all that kind of good stuff. So it's no extra charge whatsoever. Let's see. Hi, Ed. I'm on SSDI. Do I have to report gambling wins to Social Security? And be on an SSDI, will I have to pay tax on wins over 1,200? All right. I don't do taxes. But in terms of SSDI and gambling, no, unless exceptions, unless that's your job. You are a professional gambler. If you're a professional gambler and that's your job is to gamble, play poker or pai gow or whatever the case may be, then yes, that's your job. But if you just won some money, then no, it doesn't count against your SSDI. But if it's reported incorrectly through the IRS, and somewhere along the line it Social Security gets that information and says, hey, you made $1 billion last month, you hit the lottery, then they will say, hey, you obviously work too much. But if you win $1 billion, you don't care about Social Security disability insurance. But anyway, but the computer system might flag it, and next year they'll send you a letter that says you're overpaid. All you have to do is go down there and say, yeah, I won some money. And they'll, oh, okay, all right, never mind. So, and they'll say, are you a professional gambler? No, no. So yeah, don't worry about it. How come they take away your Social Security when your husband dies? For my mom, she's also disabled from diabetes. Okay, yeah, this is a common one I always hated when I worked at Social Security and I did this survivor. A lot of people misunderstanding. So what happens is, if you've got a husband and wife and they're receiving Social Security benefits, and let's say the husband is receiving 2,000 and the wife is receiving 1,500. Okay, so you've got $3,500 coming into the house, And then when, let's say the husband passes away, because this is 90% of the time, all the cases I've taken, this is how it usually happens. The husband passes, and the survivors hear that the surviving spouse gets that check. Yes, minus their own. So the wife was receiving 1,500, she will get the husband's check minus her own. So she's still getting her check, the $1,500, but she'll get up to 2,000, so $500. So she'll get $1,500 from her own record, and then a $500 from his record, for a total of $2,000. So therefore, essentially 2 checks into one, but a total of $2,000. So yes, the unfortunate part is people don't understand the system, and one day the family is receiving, $3,500. He passes away, and $1,500 of that disappears. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but that's how it's always been. So sorry about that. Uh, just watched Steve Ratner's chart concerning Project 2025. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, that's nothing in there about Social Security, the future of it. So yeah, it's strange. Greetings, Dr. Ed. A friend saw an article, something about spousal benefits expiring in 2024. I asked him for a link to provide you, but I believe it can be Googled. Yeah, that's there was an old strategy, a delayed strategy, file and suspend and deemed filing, that they changed the law in 2016, and I guess the people that could grandfather in ended in 2024. The oldest person was no longer eligible at that time, 2024. So social media people took it as an opportunity to do a bunch of clickbait and said spouse benefits and is going to expire and all that kind of stuff. No, it's everything's the same. So much clickbait out there. Yeah, it's all right. I'm going to do my public service announcement on all the social media people out there doing all the clickbait. The big one last month was the $600. Social Security is giving out $600, and a bunch of social media people on YouTube and TikTok caught it up, and they started telling everybody so they can get clicks and make more money and stuff. But it was all BS. It was all clickbait. And Social Security had to put up on their website, no, there's no $600. And the problem is, this same thing happened when I ran my office. Anytime a social media BS like that comes up, then we can't do anything in the offices throughout the country. All the time is spent answering the phones and talking to people when they come in. No, there's no $600. No, there's no $600. No, there's no $600. So this happens on a continuing basis. So I wish these social media people would stop it, because they're doing a disservice to the American people that need help filing for survivor benefits and disability benefits. But we spend all our time, no, the social media is all, yeah. So anyway, so there's my, all right. I need help because I have chronic conditions and the SSA has not been paying me correctly on my SSI benefits. They have charged me with overpayments. Yeah, if you, so SSI is a welfare-based benefit. So they are arguing that you have overpayments because of whatever reason. They just changed the rules recently as well. The new commissioners making some changes, so that's good. But overpayments, the policies have changed. It's easier to make a payment plan for 60 months. It used to be very difficult to do 60 months, but now it's very difficult. It's very easy to make a 60-month repayment plan. But if you completely disagree that you shouldn't have that overpayment, then you can request. There's a couple of ways to do it. SSA 561, which is a reconsideration. So SSA 561, and you just tell them, yeah, you need to reconsider this overpayment. This is overpayment is completely incorrect. Or you can ask for a waiver, and that is an SSA 632. And you're basically saying it's not my fault and I don't have the ability to repay. So, okay. I was told that because I hadn't worked enough, I couldn't get disability. I had a 9-year career in radio TV. I quit 1299 years afterward, spent as a caregiver. Yes, you have to be insured, just like everything else, car insurance, all that kind of stuff. Social Security disability insurance is disability insurance. You had to pay into the system for at least 10 years. And disability also has um, uh, the currently insured as well. You had to work 5 out of the 10 years prior to when you became disabled. So there's 2 insurance type of categories that you have to fulfill. Yeah, unfortunately, if you didn't pay into Social Security for 10 years, then unfortunately you wouldn't be insured. Younger people, if you're very, very young, get people that, become disabled in their 20s and 30s, pass away, when they're in their 20s and 30s, and survivor benefits. So if you're 25 years old, and unfortunately I saw this too many times, um, car accident, young parent passes away at 25, and then they have 2 or 3 kids, and you think, wow, that person didn't pay in for 10 years, so obviously no money for the kids. No, no, they do a different category, different calculation for young, and then the children get their benefits forever. And that also explains, people say, um, my father, mother, aunt, uncle, whoever paid in Social Security for all those decades, and then they passed away at 61 years old. So what happened to all that money? Well, that's what happens to that money. It goes to those young kids. So that's the social part of Social Security. So if you were receiving SSDI before then, you started working and stopped SSDI for 5 years. Now your doctor said you were disabled again. What is the steps you need to do to get SSDI again, and how long approval? All right. So SSDI before then, working and stop SSDI. So over 5 years, and you have to restart. If it's over 5 years, you can't do an expedited reinstatement. You have to do you have to start from scratch. So, and nowadays they're taking, 6 to 9 months to approve the, disability. Um, what is the PALMS for voluntary delayed retirement credits? So the PALMS is the 20,000 pages of Social Security policy that Social Security goes by to make these decisions. And who asked that? Rita. What's up, Rita? I am finding the PALMS right there, and there you go. That is the PALMS reference for the voluntary delayed retirement credits. And if you're going to do that, I would definitely do like Rita knows she has to do, is take that PALMS reference down there, because when you go down at your full retirement, the voluntary delayed retirement credits, you can only do at your full retirement age. Okay. So you go down at your full retirement age and say, hey, stop my benefits. I want that, 8% per year. And then the person at the front window will say, you can't do that. And then you pull out that reference, and they'll disappear in the back for a while, and they'll come back and they say, oh, wow. Okay. I guess you can't do that. So let's see here. Rosa, my husband passed away last week. We were separated for almost 7 years. He lived in Michigan, and it doesn't matter. It's a national program. We live anywhere in the world except for North Korea and Cuba. He received disability. He was 74. He never remarried. Can I still receive his benefits? I'm 70. It's you're unmarried. That's not really relevant. If you were remarried after 60, that's fine. But yes, it really depends on the benefit amount. So if you're entitled to surviving spouse benefits, you had to be married for 10 years. Sounds like you were separated for almost 7, but you didn't put how many years you were actually married. But you had to be married to him for 10 years, and your benefit amount has to be less. Then I would definitely 100% call up Social Security. I'd call them up immediately, if not sooner, and say, hey, my ex-husband passed away. Here's his information. If you don't know his Social Security, no problem. Just give him the name, date of birth, as well as you know it, where they were born, where he was born, and they'll be able to find his Social Security number. They'll look at his PIA, his primary insurance amount, and see if there's any more money. If there's any more money there, they will schedule an appointment and get you their money. So good luck. And then if there is more money there, the proofs you'll need the marriage certificate and the divorce decree. But please do not wait. Say, okay, I'll go ahead and get my marriage certificate, and I'll have to order a divorce decree, and I'll just wait until I get that. No. Call now, and then start getting the documentation. And you might not even need it. If when he filed, he told Social Security that he was married to you from, they might be able to use that, but usually not. But if push comes to shove, sometimes they can. Kathy, I'm confused. You're welcome. 10 years of marriage versus you must be married for 1 year before you can get spouse benefits. All right. Yes. 10 years of marriages are for divorced spouses. But if you remarry someone, then you had to be remarried. You have to have been remarried to your new person, your husband, right? For 1 year in order to get benefits. But there are exceptions to that. If that person is getting benefits and you're getting benefits, and so there's exceptions. So I would, in that particular case, if you were receiving benefits and he's receiving benefits and you were married, you just got married, but it hasn't been a year yet, I would call Social Security and file a claim, because there are exceptions on there. Yeah. So that's the difference between the 10 years. The 10 years isn't an issue because you're currently married. That's only for divorced. I took my early retirement at 62, applied for disability due to numerous health issues, but was denied. If they deny you once, can you try again, or is it just no? No, you can. Yeah, you can apply as many times as you want. You can't apply after your full retirement age because there is no disability after your full retirement age. For the most part, if a few months after in your full retirement age, you can apply and say, hey, but my disability began before my full retirement age. That's kind of an exception. But since Medicare isn't available for 2 years while on disability, is that the stupidest thing ever? As soon as y'all elect me as dictator, the enlightened dictator of America, that's one of the first things I'm going to change is if you're on disability, you should get Medicare immediately. And Medicare should cover dental, vision, and hearing, and yeah, hair transplants, number one. Anyway, what are medical coverage options during that 2 years? Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, Marketplace, whatever you want to call it. So those are your options for the 2 years. Yeah. And right after you sign up for Obamacare for those 2 years, call your politician and say, how come people on disability have to wait for 2 years to get your Medicare? That is the stupidest thing. So, but I've also have a team that can help you enroll in Obamacare as well. Again, I've saw, wow, there has been so much fraud in the agents out there signing people up. Medicare finally has shut those down. It's basically if you click on a little Facebook, whatever, some agent in the country has been switching your plan without you knowing about it because it gives you all the little type of the small print, and they say, yeah, you can change my plan by pushing this button. I want information, and all of a sudden your plan has changed. And a lot of people have been going into their doctors and then saying, yeah, you don't have this plan anymore. You were switched last month. What do you mean I was switched? So Medicare finally came down and has stopped those, and hopefully a lot of those agents have been fired and their license have been revoked. So that is a good thing. Medicare, CMS, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, is done. But that's why I put together a team that can help with Obamacare as well. So click that little button there for more help, and then there's options in there for Medicare help. To schedule a private call if you want to talk to me directly for Obamacare and burial insurance, because $255 for burial insurance just ain't enough. Kimberly, hey, what's up, Kimberly? Long time. Can my disabled son, who's legally 25 but 15-year-old mindset, can he collect off his deceased dad? And hi, Ed. Yeah, if you have it's called a disabled adult child, and a disabled adult child became disabled before the age of 22, and one of their parents is receiving disability or retirement, or it could be a survivor claim. Absolutely, you have to go through the whole thing and have to prove that to Social Security. You have to file the application, a disability application, and have to prove that the child is disabled and the child became disabled before the age of 22. Let's see. Can you get spouse benefits if you're not married but live together for over 15 years? If you're not married but live together, If your state is a common law state, and your state recognizes that your situation is a common law, then yes. So call up Social Security and whatever state you're in, there's that Palms reference. There's whole pages in there about what states are common law and which ones aren't. So yes, possibly. It depends on the laws of your state. Social Security has to abide by state laws when it comes to marriage and divorce. Let's see. I got my survivor benefits at 60 and will wait to 70 to get mine. I'm 63 now. I like it. That is a very good strategy. And Social Security, unfortunately, they kind of dropped the ball on this one too. That's why there's so many people losing money. It's called a WIB RIB report, and all offices get them. And what it is WIB, widows insurance benefits, and RIB is retirement insurance benefits. So the offices, all the offices in the country get this report every now and then where it says, hey, you've got a person in your district that is getting widows benefits, survivor benefits, all the same thing, survivor benefits, widows benefits, widowers benefits, same thing. And that person's widows benefits, surviving benefits is $1,200. But now benefits on their own record is $1,500. So reach out to that person and tell them that there's more money on their own record because they might have forgotten or didn't know or whatever the case may be. But unfortunately, people don't open the mail, or the Social Security has the wrong address. And so, yeah, they need to do a better job of notifying people. In the meantime, y'all can do a better job of notifying people by sharing and liking and subscribing. And that lady down the street that's having a hard time paying the bills every month, go down there and say, hey, survivor benefits, disability benefits, spouse benefits, all that kind of stuff. Hey, you need to contact Dr. Ed and see if yeah. So can SSI be garnished for child support? SSI is the welfare-based program. They usually don't garnish SSI because it's a welfare-based program. If somebody's receiving SSI, then they're barely scraping by anyway. But all other Social Security benefits, yes. I did a video on garnishment about a week or so ago, and it has to go through the court. So the Social Security Administration has to abide by a court order. So if whatever court in the country, family court, says, hey, take this much money out of this person's benefit checks to pay for child support or back child support or whatever the case may be, then Social Security has to abide by that court order. Thank you so much. So can I apply as early as October for a December birthday? Yep. About 2 or 3 months in advance. That's fine. Yep. Can I make $50,000 a year and draw Social Security? It depends what type of Social Security you're talking about. If you're talking about SSI, no. If you're talking about SSDI, no. If you're talking about early survivor benefits, retirement benefits, disability, spouse benefits, then no. This year, the limit is $22,320. Well, you can, but money's going to be withheld if you're making $50,000. So 22,000. So you're basically $25,000 over. So half of that, 12,500, is going to be withheld from your benefits. So it depends how much your benefits are. Let's see. Can someone who's disabled collect SSI while married? Will they count spouse income and disqualify? Yes, because SSI is a welfare-based program. So if you go and file for welfare and your spouse is making $100,000 a year, then they're going to say yes, no. Yes, no, no. No and no. Juan, on SSDI, 47 years old. When will I not be subject to a CDR? At what age? Well, 100% you will not be subject to a CDR once you turn your full retirement age. So because you're no longer going to be receiving disability once you hit your full retirement age. As of right now, you're good. No more CDRs for the rest of the year, the rest of the fiscal year. But I'm not sure what your rotation is, whether you're every 3 years or 5 years or 7 years or whatever the case may be. So, but as I did on my CDR videos, stop stressing CDRs. Social Security stresses too many people out CDRs. If you're disabled and your disability keeps you from working, then don't worry about it. Once that letter comes in the mail, the package comes in the mail for that review, complete it, return it, and forget about it. Watch my video on CDR and you'll know why. It's a budgeting issue, and Social Security just stresses too many people out about CDR. Don't, if you're on disability, you've got enough stressors in life, you know, your disability and financial and medication and all this other kind of stuff. Don't add CDRs on top of that, please. Pam, I became disabled while married and was disabled when X passed. Can I ask for any back pay? They make me use mine and his now at 62 and no back pain. Seems wrong. Yeah, it really depends on when you filed, when he passed, how old you were. What are we talking about? Disabled widows benefits. But if you disagree with the onset date and the protective filing, you can definitely ask for reconsideration. And SSA 561, very easy to fill out. You just put your name and address and phone number and Social Security down there. And there's a 3 or 4 lines you can put on there. I disagree with my benefit. I think I should get benefits back to the month he passed away, or whatever the case may be. So it really depends on your particular situation, protective filing, when you called and when he passed and how old you were and all that. Can you please explain the plan for achieving self-support, the resource limits and the expectation, please? What if you have to train? I choose not to pursue it. Yeah, so there's all kinds of, I need to do a video on that because it gets kind of complicated. I actually did a video on working while disabled. So there's different programs, you know, the trial work period, and you've got the ticket to work and the plan for achieving self-support. So you come up with a plan, and it says on the website that you can get Social Security to help you write up the plan, and that you're going to start your own business, or you're going to do this, or go to school to do this other thing. And yeah, but I wouldn't plan on getting a whole heck of a lot of help from your local Social Security office, because they're just barely, you know, surviving now because of that 27-year low. But you know how they're supposed to be there to help you with that plan. But it's all, you know, you go onto the website and there's a form. I don't think they've made it electronic yet, but there's a form and it says, okay, hey, I'm going to use part of my, you know, disability benefits to go to school so I can learn how to become, you know, auto mechanic. And then I'm going to, you know, use part of that money, and there's resource limits. And while you're doing this, they won't do a CDR for you. So yeah, you just have to walk through it. That's about an hour, probably, video. I'll have to do a video on that. Yeah. What other benefits is there for people who just receive straight Social Security payments without SSI, SSDI? Yep, I just did a video on that, the 2 checks, where I went through all of the programs that if you're receiving one program, hey, have you thought about the other one? So make sure you watch the video. It's me holding up money, and it says 2 checks. So yes. Kimberly, yep, I just answered that question. I called about SSI just today and was wondering if they pay for retro back to when I first became entitled. I'm 79 now. Never knew about it until I started gaining awareness from you. SSI welfare-based program, usually not. They might be able to go back for 6 months, but yeah, it really depends on your protective filing and, you know, what type of benefit are you looking for. But with everything Social Security, you know, ask for a decision, and then once you get the decision, then you can file a reconsideration for them to reconsider that decision. Ed, can I receive workers' comp insurance and SSDI at the same time? Yes, absolutely. However, it depends on the nature of the workers' comp. If it's like a public disability benefit, sometimes it will offset what your SSDI is. Basically, why that is if it's like a private workers' comp or long-term disability from your company, or short-term disability for your company, then it does not affect your SSDI at all. But if it's like a public type of thing, it might, because basically what Congress said is, if you're become disabled and you're getting $2,000, and then you also get $2,000 from this public disability, that's $4,000. But when you worked, the most you ever made was $3,000. So Congress said, yeah, you can't make more than what you actually made working. you can make up to 80%. So one of those might offset the other. So it really depends on the calculations. But yes, yes, you can, but one might offset the other. So it's a difficult thing, and to see if your particular workers' comp offsets, I would contact Social Security and check. On SSDI, 47 years old. When will I not be? Okay, I already answered that one. Uncle Ed. Hey, what's up, Uncle Ed? Thank you kindly. Let's see. I've been disabled since I was 14 and received SSI, but they switched me to regular Medicare at 65. Is this correct? Yep. Yep. You've been disabled since 14. Oh, okay. Just receiving SSI. So, and then somewhere along the lines, you became eligible for Medicare at 65. That sounds right. Usually, if you're on disability, you're, eligible for Medicare after 2 years, but maybe because it was SSI, you weren't eligible, then something happened and you became eligible. But remember, Medicare alone definitely doesn't cover everything. There's 6 major gaps in original Medicare that you're exposed to financially. So that's why people get either a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan. So if you need help seeing which one, then click on the my little link there, and I can have someone reach out to you and go through all your options. Will they privatize VA compensation and cut VA pensions? Also, will they cut SSDI? I'm retired. Yeah, nobody knows. There's so much stuff happening with the election and the Supreme Court rulings and all the rest of it. So I just did one a couple of days ago on the Supreme Court, 3 changes that have already, 2 definitive, well, one definitive change, one they've put on hold, and the other one is pending. And then I'm going to continue watching all the changes going forth. And so going forward and keeping you all updated. And most importantly, not only keeping you updated, and I'm going to teach you how to take advantage of the programs to get everything you can for you and your family based on my decades of inside experience. If my husband passed and we both are on SSDI, married just over a year, am I eligible to receive his benefits? Possibly, yeah. In order to get surviving spouse benefits, you have been married for at least 9 months, and you were over a year, so you're good there. But it really depends on the benefit amount. So I would call Social Security, and number one, you're entitled to that lump sum death payment, $255 burial insurance. Again, embarrassing, but it's your money. Go get it. And then at that time, they will evaluate to see if you're eligible for any ongoing monthly survivor benefits. But yes, call immediately, if not sooner. Run to the phone right now. Call the 800 number, 800-772-1213, and schedule an appointment. And the person on the phone will immediately be able to tell you whether there's any money there at all. And if there's no money, then they won't schedule an appointment. But if there is, they will schedule an appointment. I am taking Social Security 3 months prior to FRA for retirement age. The difference will just be about $33, right? It's not very much for a few months early. I worked out that it would take a lot of years to make it up 3 extra months if I wait until FRA. Yeah, that's, again, if work is not an issue and stuff like that, most people take it a few months earlier because if you do the calculations, probably comes out to like a 14-year break-even point. Because even though it's reduced 33 months, you get those, or $33, you get those 3 months of checks. So if that's $2,000, that's $6,000. So yeah, it's a nice little Hawaii vacation there for you. Current spouse, married, both of us SSDI. I'm 65. When? Oh, okay. I just answered that one. It looks like you asked that question on TikTok, and then you came over to YouTube. I like it. Kimberly, I hate the clickbait they give me every time. Yes. And unfortunately, in order to keep up on all the new scams and the clickbait and stuff like that, I have to click all those to see. And it's such a waste of time. There's one channel out there that's all they do is clickbait. And they say, oh, more money next month, more money next month. And oh, you're going to get checks this month. And then you sit there and listen to the thing for 5 minutes and they say, well, yeah, more money next month if this law that some politician somewhere in the country introduced 20 years ago, if that had passed, you would have got more money next. And it's like, oh my gosh, I just wasted 5 minutes of my life. So, but I sacrificed that time for y'all to keep up on all the BS. So you're welcome. I have been sent forms to fill out for SSD. She will call me and go over the questions. I was turned down in 2011. My husband died 20 and June 23. Well, October. I will be 60. I wonder why. Sent forms. So forms from Social Security. Yeah, not exactly sure what kind of forms. Did you recently file for disability? Sometimes when you file, they send you the DDS, the state agency that's making the medical determination. They will send you a SSA 3369 to ask about your work history and stuff like that. And why stop for dictator, run for president? Right? I like enlightened dictator. Well, I don't mind. Sometimes, some days. Disability, age 47. When do I? Okay, I already answered that one a few times. Let's see. I cannot work because of my kidney disease. The employment specialist said nothing I could do because of my condition. The judge brutally asked what gives you the right. 29 years and this book. Yeah, if you disagree, watch my videos on disability, and one of the sections on the videos there, it goes into the appeals process, the reconsideration, the administrative law judge, and all the rest of it. Let's see, got people answering other people's questions, which I always like, and trying to help people out. That's good. Could they mess with your military retirement or VA compensation if you apply for SSDI? No. Yes, SSDI and VA, no relevance whatsoever. I had a lot of, I'm an old Marine Corps sergeant, so I had a lot of veterans work in my office, and they were receiving, veterans 10%, 20%, 50%, whatever the case may be. So yeah, Social Security disability, Social Security retirement, Social Security survivor benefits, spouse benefits, no relevance to VA. You can get your VA disability or compensation, and it won't affect your Social Security benefits, except for SSI because that's a welfare-based program. So, Barbara, I'll be 65 next October. If I get SSI on my record, will it be okay to make all the money I want? And again, SSI is the welfare-based program, so no. If you're getting welfare, then if you got any other money coming in, I assume you're talking about Social Security. So still no, because 65 is not your full retirement age. And once you hit your full retirement age, which probably for you is 66 and 8 months, 10 months, probably 67. Once you hit that, then you can make $1 billion a month and it doesn't affect your Social Security. But yeah, before that, you still have that earnings limit. All right, we are over an hour, and I always like to keep these to an hour. Let's see. Let me see if there's one person I don't recognize that has never asked a question. Okay, here, Salah. I don't recognize that name, so let's welcome. Does Social Security require a marriage certificate to establish spousal benefits? If yes, do they accept an out-of-country marriage certificate, or do I need to get other documentation as proof? Yes, for the most part, 97% of the time for spouse benefits, they require a marriage certificate. Well, and if it's a current spouse, not necessarily. They could just ask the current spouse, and there's a form SSA3 that the person, you can do it electronically and stuff like that. But if you're going to file for spouse benefits, a current spouse, then I would call Social Security. Don't worry about the marriage certificate yet. File, and the Social Security employee will tell you whether you actually need the marriage certificate. But if you do, yeah, you can do it out. You can do, a foreign marriage certificate, no problem whatsoever. And don't translate it, because Social Security needs the original document, and Social Security will translate the document for you. So you don't have to pay to get it translated. Social Security has, I used to do I speak Japanese, so I used to do all the Japanese translations for pretty much the entire West Coast. And yeah, so you don't have to do that. But call up, schedule an appointment, file for benefits, and they will tell you whether you need it or not. So, All right, let's see. Let's do two more. Peter, my wife's check, she passed away about 4 years ago. That don't make sense to me, but I would be the higher earner, so I would be entitled to some benefits. I am a Yeah, if you're the higher earner, then again, it's over the high 35 years of earning. It's so, if yours is the higher PIA, the primary insurance amount, then yeah, then unfortunately there's no more benefits. But usually the higher earner, yes, has the higher benefit amount. But again, it's over the 35 years. All right. All right, let's do last one. Karen, almost 65, file for SSDI January 24, out of dollars. If I take Social Security now, it permanently reduces Social Security and eventually SSDI. If I get SSDI with 1 year, I can retract Social Security claim and repay benefit, thus getting my full fraud. Wow, you're um, yes, I like the strategy there. So um yeah. So if you're filing for SSDI and if they approve you, but you've also filed for retirement benefits because you want the money to begin, and then they approve you for SSDI, then yeah, technically you can withdraw your retirement benefit application and pay that money back and then get the SSDI. But remember, the SSDI is a 5 month waiting period, so you don't get money for that first 5 months. And it really depends on when the onset date. So the onset date might put you before you started receiving retirement, so there might not be a reduction. So yes, now. All right, I see someone asking for a neighbor, and I always put those in high priority. So I'll do one last one last one. I always like people taking care of other people. So thank you, Aaron. Asking for a neighbor. She had to collect at 62. Her parent had Alzheimer's. She was a caregiver. Now she is 67, working 30 hours, but very ill, Lyme disease. Can she collect SSDI also? No, unfortunately, unless she can prove she became disabled, unable to work before she became her full retirement age. But after your full retirement age, yeah, there's no more SSDI at all. But make sure she checks any spouse benefits or surviving spouse benefits or anything like that. Um, then, and if her benefit amount is low, under 15, 16, $1,700, depending on the state, and she's not working, make sure she applies for Medicaid, see if they'll pay for her Part B premium and all that other kind of good stuff. So watch my video on living on Social Security alone. I just updated it, expanded it, a couple 3 weeks ago. It's a 17-minute video on all the programs out there that might be able to help you all out. All right, that's it for today.